Hello, great people. Of course, I am your host, Portia Bright Pittman, of course, of this phenomenal show that I have put together for you all. This is what I like to think of a way to spread positive vibes. We need so much more positivity in the world with everything that's taking place. And so I actually not only did I bring Eliza Martin and Representative Bright, but I have a very special guest for you tonight. She is all the way from the island of St. Lucia. I hear it's a beautiful place, and I am definitely looking forward to visiting there with all of these wonderful women that I'm connecting with in St. Lucia. So I'm excited, of course. If you can, please like and share this broadcast so that way others can actually hear some of this positivity that we're actually about to unleash with this broadcast tonight. Of course, you can always follow us at Bright Books Club on all social media outlets so you can stay abreast of everything that we have going on. So without further ado, great people, you know I've been sharing it on our social media. Without further ado, I want to introduce to you the beautiful, the talented, just out of this world, a great author and all around great woman for what I've read. And I'm gonna let you be the judge of that. Let's bring her on into the broadcast. Abigail,
Hi.
you.
Hi, Portia. I'm great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. You're even more beautiful than your pictures in person. I'm so excited to meet you tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No doubt. Now let's get into this interview because first of all, just give our audience a little background information about you and like what led up to this point of you becoming a published author.
Sure. So my name is Abigail Edmunds, and like you rightly said, I'm from the beautiful island of St. Lucia. I come from a huge family. My parents have 11 of us. I'm number nine, so I have five brothers and five sisters. And my dad, he is visually impaired, and so are all my brothers and my oldest and youngest sister. So I've been around the visually impaired community my entire life. And that's a cause that's very near and dear to my heart. I've noticed like it was hard for my parents to integrate my siblings into the public school system. And as an educator coming to the US, getting my master's in children and youth studies, children and youth studies, but also special education, I've been in a lot of different settings in the school system in New York City, and I haven't seen a lot of children with physical disabilities in those settings. So that just piqued my interest, and it was something that I'm very curious about. So I thought I would shed some light on this community where they're very underrepresented. And again, it's something that I'm accustomed to because my siblings and my dad do have an impairment when it comes to their to their vision. So that was
Awesome.
the reason behind my book.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, just back up for a second because I'm all about family and inspirations and things like that. Now,
Sure.
when are you the first published author in your family?
I am the first published author in my family, but my brother, who is also visually impaired, he is a year older than me. He holds two master's degrees. So I'm trying
Oh
to get my
wow!
PhD so that I could be, it's like this sibling rivalry, we have going on.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I love that. Now, speaking of education, what do you want your audience to learn from this book?
Yeah, so the message behind this book, again, it's called I Can, Just Not Like You. And the reason that I wrote it again is so that children, well, my targeted audience is children, because a lot of times we realize that they are, very honest and, they don't have a filter. So I feel like there's a lot of things that has to be explicitly taught in terms of the way we communicate with others who look differently than us, the things that we say, which is deemed appropriate and inappropriate. So I think these things have to be taught explicitly. So the book is highlighting three children with different disabilities, and they're saying, hey, you could read with your eyes, but I could also read, but I just use my fingers and I use braille, right? You can hear with your
Mm,
ears. I can communicate, but I use my hands, I use sign language. So it's just giving them that verbiage, giving them that vernacular and that vocabulary so that they could understand, hey, these kids are different, but they could still accomplish things just not the way I can. And that just starts the conversation with parents, teachers, principals, whichever stakeholders are involved, just starting that conversation so that we could build inclusion, equity, tolerance around that subject.
Awesome. Well, that is such a empowering message, of course, because you always want to make sure that, especially little kids, everyone feels included. And it seems like you definitely are touching on every subject right there when you get to talking about disabilities, because society has a way of making, youth or people with disabilities feel different. And so I'm excited about this book that you have here. What age group would you say your book is best meant for?
It's from 0 to 100.
I like that.
Yeah, it's for everybody.
No doubt. Awesome. I'm excited about that. I mean, like you said, it's all about being inclusive, and
Yes,
and you're never too old to learn is what I've gathered from being an author and writing books and things like that. I am
exactly.
super excited about what you're doing. Tell us what you hope to accomplish next with this book. Like, where can we look to see you next?
Well, all about, expanding. So there's definitely it's gonna be a series. I'm gonna go into exploring the different characters in their own right, in their own disability, and how they navigate in their world throughout the day or throughout whatever. So just focusing on these two characters, Sadie, Adam, and Saray, and yeah, so that we could get to know more about them, and just join them on their journey as they go through life.
Now, speaking of Adam and Saray, your wonderful characters in the book, are you going to share just maybe a couple pages in the book just to give us a teaser of what the story is all about?
I will. I will. I'm going to read the
Okay,
introductory page, and then I'm going to read Saray's page about how she does her thing. Okay.
awesome.
So
I'm all
again,
about it.
this is the beginning. I mean, this is the front cover of the book, and this book was dedicated to my parents, Stephen and Ina Edmunds, who taught me how to love others despite our differences. I just love my parents so much; they're the best in the world.
No doubt.
And so here we have Amb, and she's my actual niece. All the characters in there are my nieces and my nephew, right? So the illustrator, she did an amazing job by taking their portraits and illustrating them. So this is Amb. And Am says, the world is filled with boys and girls who are different from you. So come along and read with me as I introduce you to a few. And then we have my beautiful niece, Sadie, and she's depicted as being blind. And I put a lot of clues in there. So when I have my read alouds with my kids, I could ask those prompts, like what in the story makes you think that Sadie has this disability? And then it's not just the words, it also use the pictures to make those inferences. And then Sadie says, when I read books, I use my fingers instead of my eyes. I feel the words on the page and the stories come alive. At first, it was tricky to read. I did not want to fail. But now I am so good at reading all my books in Braille. So that's Sadie, and that's all I'm going to read. Because if you want to know what the rest of the book is, you should go out and buy it.
I definitely want to encourage people, if you're listening tonight, definitely go out and get this book. One of the things that I've learned, by being a published author and, getting out here and, going to events, selling books and things like that is that you really have to, communicate with people. Like you cannot be timid at all, literally. And
Right.
so I want to encourage you to, continue to share this wonderful story that you have here, because I'm pretty sure it's going to touch millions of people that you probably will never meet. But I mean, just the fact that your book will be all over the world and, just sharing this story is a blessing in itself. Now, I usually ask my authors, how was your journey with writing a book? How long did it take you? And what advice would you provide for, any other woman or anybody out there looking to become a published author?
Well, thankfully for me, I feel like this book was just gifted to me by God. Like literally, the words were in my head. Like I was hearing the words, and I just grabbed my phone and I started writing. So the writing process, it was literally like there was no metacognition involved. It was like I heard the words, I put it on paper, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, right? Um, and then just going through the whole process of getting it published. Thank God, again, one of my friends from high school, who's like one of my best friends now, Kashama Leo Henry, and she's the publisher of the company Sandcastle Book. And I think she was also a guest on your show for her first book, Daddy's Uncles and More Oh My. So she really took the reins. She was the one who did everything from, getting the illustrator, Nana, to us editing and going back and forth with our illustrator, making sure that whatever we were visualizing was coming to life. She did the copywriting, the ISBN number, everything she handled. And I just thank God for her and for us reconnecting at the right time. So for me, thankfully, it was not a stressful journey. I know some people are struggling with all the different components of putting a book together. But again, if you have a strong publisher who knows what they're doing, who's tried and true in the game, it really does help, make all these different transitions run smoothly and less stressful. And it's also cost effective because you're not wasting money on mistakes. So find a good publisher who could really help you get everything together, get that really nice package, and who's not going to compromise because she's like me, we're very nuanced and we're headstrong. Whatever we see is what we want to accomplish, and we didn't settle for less. So we were a great team, and I'm really thankful that I have her in my corner. So finding somebody like that who will go to bat for you, who will go back and forth with the illustrator if they have to get it right. I think that's quintessential when it comes to just getting that full package, that professional look, and being satisfied with the end product like I am.
Awesome. Abigail, I mean, it seems like you're going places, literally. How long have you been in America?
20 plus years, girl.
Nice.
20 plus years. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is a blessing for sure. I'm glad I had the opportunity to chat it up with you tonight. Tell us, where can people go and publish your books?
So again, my book could be found at www.sandcastlebook without the S.com. And if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook at Abigail Edmunds. It's a public page, and on Instagram at Kiki Abby.
Awesome. Well, great people, there you go. There you have it. Go and check out this book. Are you planning on doing any school visits, or are you sticking solely to just selling the book?
No, definitely. I want to do a lot of like school tours, library tours, community center after school tours, doing a lot of read alouds and engaging my young ones into just like having that conversation. And that's what I'm really into, is to spreading the good word about equity when it comes to children with physical disabilities.
No, I love that, Abigail. We have some people on social media. They say beautiful book, love the title. And so, yeah, I think you're going to be doing phenomenal things for sure. It seems like the people will be supporting you and heading on over to sandcastlebook.com to actually pick up the book, and as well as following Abigail on Kiki Abby on social media, as well as Abigail Edmunds on Facebook, which I take it is your author's page, Abigail.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go, great people, go support her. I mean, start booking her for those school visits. So have you decided whether you're, going to be traveling to schools, or are you still doing virtual things?
Well, fortunately, I'm a sets provider, so I pretty much set my own schedule. So there's a lot of flexibility with my scheduling for work. So I'm definitely open to traveling and doing book tours in different cities and things like that. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, of course, I'm just going to give you the advice and tell you to check out some festivals. Those are great ways to pop up and, show people what you got. I mean, that's what I did when I became a published author in 2020. It takes a lot of extra work, especially when you're a self-published author, because you have to get out and let people know who you are, what your story is all about. But once, you pick up the momentum, great things begin to unfold. So I'm encouraging you to continue to spread the joy and the love that you have, as well as this story, because everybody needs to feel like they belong. And I think you're doing a phenomenal job with sharing that message for sure.
Thank you so much, Portia. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. Of course, I'll be continuing to follow Abigail, and I'm encouraging you to do the same thing, great people. I mean, this is what it is all about. The Storybook Wellness Celebration is all about sharing positive vibes, making sure that we're adding a little bit more positivity in the world, because, I mean, every time we turn on the television or, see something in the news, it kind of can strike a chord in you. And so the Storybook Wellness Celebration is all about empowering you, giving you that positive vibe, and we're always sharing great stories, of course. I'm also inviting you to head on over to Bright Books Club on Facebook and Instagram. Of course, we're always sharing things about various authors, who support Bright Books Club. And we're also talking about different sales that they could have going on as well. You can also check out our catalog at brightbooks.org, brightbooks.org, that is brightbooks.org, to find out more information about what we'll be doing next, because we always want you to come along for the trip. So go check out Abigail, purchase that book. Visit sandcastlebook.com, because great people, pretty sure we have someone in our lives who can use a positive story, and she is doing just that. Without further ado, of course, I want to conclude this celebration, but it always continues on, because I want you to head on over to our social media page to find out how you can win the giveaway for tonight. I'll talk to you great people real soon. Stay positive and stay blessed. Peace.